you're struggling to close deals, chasing prospects who ghost you, or wondering why your pitch isn't quite landing, then I want you to stop everything, because I'm about to tell you the one skill that separates average salespeople from the ones making 7 figures or more. I'm not gonna give you a bunch of hype. I'm not gonna tell you to hustle. I'm not gonna tell you to close harder. I'm gonna show you how to solve problems the right way. But first, you need to know how to listen, read the data, and then become the solution. I'm just gonna dive right into this one. Whether you're in SaaS, direct-to-consumer, consulting, or like most of you are that are probably watching this, real estate investors, the game of sales has not changed. What has changed is how well your prospects are trained to tune out salespeople. There's so many things that they're being sold these days that things are getting lost in the mix. So to win, you need to become more than just a salesperson. You need to become a problem-solving detective. Today, you're gonna learn the 3 pillars of elite sales. You're gonna learn to listen like a therapist, read data like a strategist, and solve problems like a surgeon. Plus, I'm gonna give you 10 killer takeaways you can apply today, and one mindset that I promise, if you implement it correctly, is going to change your close rate. So here are 10 powerful things that are going to reinforce this strategy. So number 1, start with curiosity. Ask lots of questions. How did you find us? What made you interested in reaching out to us? What are the things that frustrate you the most right now? I train my salespeople to ask at least 15 questions before they even start talking about our product. Have you ever gotten on a sales call where someone just starts shoving benefits and features down your throat and they have no idea what your pain points are? I start with this as number 1 because this is something that most people don't do. Number 2, mirror their language. Use their exact words when framing back their problem. People want to feel seen, heard, and understood. So if someone said, my problem is leads, then later in the call, you can say, I heard you say your problem is getting more leads. And then you can start getting into the solution. Number 3, shut up after asking questions. When you ask a question and they're thinking, don't rush to fill silence. Let them think and let them come up with the outcome, especially when you're asking for the sale. I've listened to a ton of sales calls where my salespeople have asked a question and then they either try and answer that question for the client or potential client, and then they end up shooting themselves in the foot. Ask questions and let them answer. Do not interrupt. Number 4, look for emotional ammo. When their tone shifts, when they repeat something twice, or their face tightens or they give some kind of reaction, you can see that there's potentially a real problem there. If you don't look for these cues, you may miss it. People buy through emotion, so if you can see the emotions and read what they're going through, you're more likely to be able to provide a really good solution for them. Number 5, segment personas. You can use past data to segment people into different categories. So if you've talked to someone that is a CEO and has had the same problem as someone else that's been a CEO, you are better able to know what path to take with them. So use your past data to be able to use solutions that you've used in the past. But not only that, but if you can use examples that are like them, they will feel connected to you and know that you have solved problems for people just like them. Number 6, use micro commitments. There's something that says, there's a psychology that says if they commit to something more often, or they say yes to you more often, they're more likely to commit to the big ask. For instance, a question like, if we could solve your exact problem, would you be open to hear how we can do that? By getting them to say yes and commit to you more often, they're more likely to commit at the end when you ask for the big thing. Number 7, use data. Use analytics, performance history, even social proof to back up your solution. It builds instant credibility. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have something that you've done before to help solve the same problem or a problem specifically for that person or that type of person, you're more likely to get them to trust you because you've been able to solve that problem before. Or if you just have basic data on how quickly something works, or numbers for other people that have used your product or service. People want to know that they can trust you, and if you've gotten results before, you should be able to present those and show that you've been able to come through. What if I could show you how to work half the time that you are now, or better yet, create what I call a 5-hour business? I want to show you my 3-step system that showed me how to go from 60 to 80-hour weeks to now only having to work 5 hours a week in my businesses. The truth is, I actually don't have to go to work. If I don't go to work, I still get paid and my businesses run without me. In fact, a couple years ago, I got really sick and couldn't go to work for many months. Not Not only did my businesses run without me, but they did record numbers, doing millions and millions without me. Now I'm on a mission to help as many business owners create businesses that run without them, or at least the ability to work 5 hours or less if you want to, while your business still grows. So if you want to learn more about this, go to 5hourbusiness.com, where I can share my 3-step process on how you can do the same. Again, 5hourbusiness.com. Number 8, de-risk. Don't be afraid to offer guarantees if you know you can back it up most of the time. Tony Robbins talks about making ridiculous offers. For instance, for his business mastery, he says if you don't get at least $1 million worth of value, you can ask for your money back. It's a $10,000 seminar. He says almost nobody has asked for their money back. So if you know you can back it up, don't be afraid to make a ridiculous guarantee. Number 9, repeat their problems. Before you pitch, recap them. For instance, so you said X is going to cost you time and Y is stressing out your team. Did I get that right? If they say yes, then you can lean into your pitch. They feel like that you've heard them. They feel like that you know what their problem is. You verified it, and now you can go into offering them the solution. Number 10, frame the result. You want to frame the result, not the product. Nobody buys software, for instance. They buy time savings. Nobody buys coaching. They buy clarity, they buy confidence, and they buy results. Anytime anybody buys something, anytime somebody does something, it's because they are wanting a result. So make sure you're pushing the result. Nobody cares how many bells and whistles you have as long as it solves their problem. So let's walk through a quick example. Let's say you're selling a CRM. The old way, somebody would say, our CRM is faster. It's better because of this, and it integrates with that. The better way to sell is, you mentioned your team spends 4 hours or more per day copying data between platforms. What would change for you if that disappeared? Now you're showing them what the result they can get is, and I promise you, they will probably feel an emotion behind it. So to sell better, flip the script. Be the doctor, not the pusher. Start with questions and diagnose properly. Make sure you pull insights from your data. And most of all, commit to solving one real problem at a time. They probably have multiple problems, but if you can solve the main problem, then it becomes obvious that they should buy from you. So here are some things that you can do right away to make yourself a better salesperson. First of all, review your last 3 sales calls. Did you solve a clear problem? Did you ask questions? And did you follow this framework? Number 2 is you can find out what your pains are from your buyers. You can do that by asking them. You can do that by reviewing your sales calls, but come up with 3 top pains most of your buyers are talking about the most, because then you can figure out how to sell the benefit of solving that pain. And then 3, practice summarizing these problems back to your customers in their words. Sales mastery starts when you stop pushing and you start solving problems, but you don't know what the problems are until you ask questions. I feel like marketing and sales are the top 2 things that you can do to become a better business person. This is where most people fail. If you can figure out marketing and then figure out sales, as long as you have a pretty good product, it's game over. Speaking of marketing, if you love this video, you're gonna love this next video, how to get those customers that you can sell.